Hello everybody, so I'm going to go over the in-class graphing. So first I'll start with the x-intercept. Okay, and so for the x-intercept, what you do is you set the y equal to 0. And so if you multiply everything by this, you're going to end up with 0 is equal to essentially -3, which doesn't make sense, so there is no x-intercept. Okay. Next, we'll do the vertical asymptote. Okay, and so if you remember with the vertical asymptote, you have to set the denominator equal to 0. So we would have like x squared minus 3x is equal to 0. So you would just factor this. So factor an x out. So you'd have x minus 3 equal to 0. And so my two vertical asymptotes are going to be x equals 0 and x equals 3. Okay, so x equals 0 and x equals 3. Next, horizontal asymptote. Okay, horizontal asymptote, you look at the degree. So the degree here, technically, it's x to the 0, right? And then this is 2. So the degree on the bottom is greater than the degree on top, which means that the horizontal asymptote is y is equal to 0. The domain, and again, as Mr. Makovic pointed out in his video, and same thing here, you can write the domain in many different ways, like all reals except for like 0 and 3. And I'll just kind of write it like this. So from -infinity to 0, between 0 and 3, and then, between 3 and positive infinity. Okay, but you could write like, or, you know, all reals except 0 and 3. That's totally fine. So now we're going to actually graph it. And so what you're going to do is you're going to draw your asymptotes. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one's at 0, so I know it's kind of hard to see. And then the other one's 3. Okay, so those are our two asymptotes. So let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so now the graphing part. Really, you just kind of need to see a general direction here, and then kind of plot a couple points. You can make a T-chart if you want. I'm just going to do it on my calculator for the sake of time. And so if you plot, like, let's say 4, you know, if you pick x equals 4, you're going to get, it's going to be like negative like 0.7 or something like that. So if you know it's here, you know automatically, okay, it's got to be on this side of the asymptote. And so there you go. You get that. If you're somebody who's struggling with, oh, you know, what direction it goes, or like how much more do I need to do, just pick another point. So just do, you know, 4, 5, and 6, you know, or like 3.5, 4, and 5. And so make a little T-chart and do that. That should give you a better estimate of what that is. Next, we've got the other side. So I will do, let's say, if you do -1, you're going to get like negative like 0.7. So I know this part. And now the middle. The middle, as Makovic pointed out, sometimes is going to go, you know, like this, or it's going to do like a little squiggly. It really kind of depends sometimes on the degree, but in this case, you just, I would say, plot, you know, 3 points and kind of see what you get. So if I pick like 3 points in here, I could do 1, you know, 2, and something in between, so like 1.5. So if I do those 3, I actually end up with something like here, 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 so something like that. And so I see, okay, it's a parabola. There you go. And again, these are kind of sketches. So there you go. That's number 1. Number 2, again, first thing, x-intercept. Set this part equal to 0. And so if you set this part equal to 0, you're going to get 0 is equal to x over x plus 2, x minus 2, multiply both sides by x minus 2. 0 times x minus 2 is a 0, so x equals 0. There you go. So your x-intercept is 0. 0. Next, we've got our vertical asymptote. Vertical asymptote. So essentially, you look and see what makes the bottom equal to 0. And so you set it equal to 0, so x minus 2 equals 0. So that means my asymptote is 2. So x is equal to 2. Okay, so we can draw that. Okay, next, We've got the horizontal asymptotes, so we look and see their degrees. The degrees are the same. We look at the coefficients right here. So this is 1 as well. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. So my horizontal asymptote is y is equal to 1. Okay. Domain. Again, you're going to go from negative infinity to this asymptote. So from negative infinity to 3. And then again from 3, to 2. And then again from 2 to positive infinity. Okay. Now again, you would make a t-chart, but also if you see that this is positive, you know that the right side is going to be opening up and the left side is going to be opening down, just kind of the basic one of kind of like 1 over x. 1 over x gives you essentially, if you've got a graph, looks like this. And so that's essentially how you keep it. So, okay, if this is positive, so I know that's going to be right here on the top side. And then right here on the bottom side. Okay, there we go. All right, number 3. Again, same thing. So start out with the x-intercept. Then you do the horizontal, vertical, doesn't matter actually what order, and then domain. Okay, so the x-intercept. Again, set the left side equal to 0, multiply by x plus 3, and so you'll realize that 0 is equal to negative 3. Again, does not make sense, so no. Horizontal asymptote, again, take a look and see, okay, the degree on top is less than the degree on the bottom, right? There's no x here, there's an x to the first here, so it's going to be y is equal to 0 based off of your rules. Vertical asymptote, you're going to set the bottom equal to 0, and so you'll realize that your vertical asymptote, if you do x plus 3 equals 0, it's going to be x is equal to negative 3. So x is equal to negative 3. And then domain again, from negative infinity to negative 3, and then from 3 to positive infinity. Okay. All right, and then we graph. So horizontal asymptote on the axes, vertical asymptote negative 3. Okay, so we're good there. And this time there's a negative, so if you remember, if you look over here at this problem, right, this one was going this way and the other one was going this way. The negative is going to flip that, okay? So essentially it's going to look like this. And then again, if that doesn't make sense, just make a t-chart. Another kind of note about the t-chart, if you got an asymptote here, you could do like 3 points on the right side of the asymptote, 3 points on the left side of the asymptote. Just kind of like one kind of maybe halfway, one right after, and then another one. If you got something like number 1, maybe if you're struggling, you do 3 points on a t-chart right here, 3 points in between, and another 3 points on this side, and that will give you a nice clear picture. Although not very necessary once you get the pattern, and we're just, you know, kind of sketching these at the end of the day. All right, last one. So we have, again, our x-intercept, vertical asymptote, horizontal asymptote, and the domain. Okay, so x-intercept, set the side equal to 0, so multiply it. You realize, okay, 0 is equal to 1, that doesn't make sense, so no x-intercept. Vertical asymptote, set the bottom equal to 0. 3x minus 3 is equal to 0, add 3 to both sides, 3x is equal to 3, divide by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1, so my vertical asymptote is x equal to 1. Horizontal asymptote, again, look at the degrees. Degree on top is less than the degree on bottom, so horizontal is y is equal to 0. And the domain is going to go from negative infinity to 1, and then from 1 to positive infinity. Okay. So from here, draw your asymptote, so horizontal asymptote, vertical asymptote, and sketch it. So, okay, it's positive, so just like the other one. And there you go. It's roughly like that. Sorry, I'll make that a little bit closer. Okay. Alrighty. So that is